All right, so before we move on, I do have someone else to introduce. Unoclay has been able to make it on the podcast, so why don't you say hi?
Heyo, how you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Oh, we're doing good.
Nice to see you all. Coming in from Philadelphia, straight from some downtown business. How are you guys doing? Sorry, I had to put some theme music into your podcast tonight. So I'm sorry, who else is on the podcast tonight? I joined late, so I'm not sure who else here.
No one else. So, Mike, so you said you were going to be late or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, let's just see, let's wait 10 minutes, and if he doesn't show up, fine. And then I talked to Mike, and he was like, yeah, I have a lot of studying to do. I might show up halfway through, and I'm like, okay, that means he's not going to come in. So it's just me and Malik here. I almost said it wrong again.
Hi, Malik. I don't think I know you. What's your handle?
My handle on YouTube and pretty much everywhere else is TheCartoonGamer.
Cool. Awesome.
I do a lot of YouTube. I do a lot of Nintendo stuff on YouTube and Sony stuff, Rare stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm an IGNer like Matt, so glad to have you here, and thanks for having me, Matt.
Yeah, of course.
So I heard you guys talking about a lot of Pokemon. I don't know anything about that, so if you want my opinion, I'll say I totally agree entirely with everything you guys are saying, and it's not very controversial to say that. So
it's okay. We're actually getting into the more interesting news of the night. So the first.
It depends on who you are. A lot of people really like Pokemon, so that's probably fair. That you talk endlessly about that stuff, so it's good.
Yeah. So the next thing is, could the NX be a virtual or augmented reality console? So someone wrote up an article on Digital Capital saying, based on statements and its partnerships with DNA, that they'll use smartphones, that he thinks it could be a virtual reality console or augmented reality. With an account system. Yeah, just basically based on statements and other things that have going on with Nintendo. So what do you guys think of that?
Please have at it, man. I'll talk second. I have less to say about it since I'm a little ambivalent on it, so I can gladly follow up.
Okay, so the whole virtual reality thing or augmented reality is pretty much the same thing as virtual reality, right? I'm not entirely sure.
So augmented reality is, you have a 3DS, right?
Yeah.
You know the AR cards where you put a card and then your system reads it and you see something that it looks like it's in real life, but it's through the screen of your device?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what augmented reality is. Virtual reality is like you put on a helmet and then you're like injected in that world.
Yeah, like these whole rumors saying that the NX could be all these different things, it's just making my head hurt. Like I just want to, right now, I don't want to think about what the NX could be. I just want to make sure that my Wii U has like a good lifespan right now. That's what I'm really invested in, because I spent nearly $400 on the Wii U, and to think that it's getting the boot sooner than later for this whatever the heck this thing could be, it's just painful. Yeah, frankly, quite painful.
So at what point did you pick up a Wii U? Did you wait for a bundle or something, or did you get it at launch?
Me and my brother got it right around Christmas of 2012. That was our Christmas gift to ourselves.
Cool.
And we got Nintendo Land with it, and yeah, we've been having fun with it ever since.
Awesome. Clay, did you have anything to say on it?
Well, I guess my perspective is a little boring in that rumors, I tend to not be someone who puts too much stock in them. Even maybe past the point where I should probably buy into some of this stuff. For instance, it took me a really long time. A good handy recent example would be the whole thing where people figured out the embedded code for Ryu being in Smash. And I still sort of didn't believe it, partly because I guess I just enjoy the sense of the suspension of disbelief on, being surprised. And then it's my own fault, of course, like all of us, for reading rumors and reposting them and talking about them. And, we're destroying the sense of surprise, and that's a whole other topic for ourselves. But with the NX, I've only partially been following it. I did see that floating around. Personally, gut instinct, not based on rumors, any kind of leaks, any kind of buried information that people are digging up. I don't believe it because I just don't think Nintendo's going to go in such a radical direction when they're hemorrhaging due to the Wii U. You know, it's gotten better. I guess it's not as grim as it used to be. You know, as many of the IGNers or possible listeners out there would know, I'm a huge fan. It's the only real console of the current generation I own. Play it every single day. Splatoon, Smash, you name it, I'm playing it. And but I the writing's on the wall. They need to move on. But I don't think, you know, based on the fact that they went back on their word and are going to do smartphones, they're going to do something very safe and center of the road. Like, okay, we're going to develop our smartphones, even though we said we weren't. I just, you know, yeah, you could point to the Wii and say they did something really radical, something that nobody expected. Personally, I don't know. Augmented reality, if it didn't cost them a lot and they did something like, you know, what they did with the 3DS, what we saw for, like, literally the AR card game that came with the system, and we haven't seen virtually anything else that I know of since. Sure, maybe they'd add something in like that and kind of their whole throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks mentality. Maybe people will pick up on this, or maybe it'll be like the Wii U tablet and only a few people will do cool things with it. Maybe it'd be in there, but much more than that, where it would be like top heavy on tech, I just don't believe it. They're going to try and release something with a good price point. And unfortunately, everybody, I do believe the argument that people are saying it's going to be less powerful than it should be, you know, and I say that carefully. I'm not someone who believes in the power wars. You know, you can make amazing games on the Wii U. It's been proven. There are stunning games on the Wii U. Anyone who doesn't believe it just isn't playing it. And that's just the case. But it's not going to be a power war for them. They're not going to put in the newest chips and run the price up to $600. They can't afford to have a second system, like, you know, kind of fall off a cliff in terms of sales. You know, they need to get something out there that's going to sell, and price point is obviously very important to them. So,
yeah, so he brings up some interesting points where he gets his thoughts from, but yeah, I don't think it really makes sense either, because he said in his article that he thinks they're going to keep it low cost and non-competitive hardware-wise, which if it's gonna be cheap and have not so much power, how is it going to be able to run like augmented reality or more importantly virtual reality, being less powerful than like the PS4 and costing less? Like, that doesn't make sense. And if they're going to use like a smartphone to use as a controller besides a traditional controller, you're basically just replacing the gamepad with a smartphone, which is like just a redo of the Wii U, which clearly didn't work, so that doesn't make sense either.
I have to say, I can speak for a small, well, shrinking, but vocal minority where I say I don't even like the idea of tying smartphones inherently to the system, because I am one of the last people who's a tech fan who does not have a smartphone. My wife, you know, said, "Is that going to be the thing that breaks us? You know, we're going to end up buying." I mean, we live in a city. We travel quite a bit. We're very, you know, I'm into tech. My wife isn't so much, but I work on a computer all day. I live on a computer for most of my hobbies. I just have chosen that I don't need a smartphone to be constantly distracting me in all the very small parts of my life where I'm not at a computer terminal. Yeah. And then I'm like, great, now Nintendo's going to force me to get one, you know? So I personally would be happy if whatever it was launched, and I really doubt this would be real. This is me dreaming, but it would be like, okay, so your Wii U tablet is compatible with whatever this is. If you happen to be one of the people that has a Wii U, you can move, you know, and I don't think it's that far out of the box to imagine something like that, just given that if they're going to kill the Wii U early, that, you know, it would be a little bit of a nod, you know, backwards compatibility in that sense, to be like, you know, plus then the whole issue of the question of like, how will Wii U games ever be ported to a new system in the future could be addressed in that way. Now, like you're saying, the smartphone thing could be the other answer. They're like, well, you know, your Wii U games will work on your smartphone now, even though it's going to have horrible controllers, and you know, you won't have pads or sticks, you know, but hey, it'll work, you know. Yeah. But who knows?
I think the article writer was also making the claim that it would be similar to the Wii, where it's like something that's accessible to everyone and pretty much everyone has. So that would be like a jumping off point. Like, oh, you know how to use a smartphone and you have one. You can like pop in and use it with this. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really buy it based off of his arguments.
Personally, I would just say it's probably in our best interest to sustain a certain amount of like just I don't know, standoffishness.
Yeah,
I don't know the right word I'm looking for. Skepticism. That's the word I'm looking for. Like right now, because it's early. Leaks are leaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the best way to be disappointed is to not just wait and see. You know, because you're gonna build yourself up. You're gonna be like, it's gonna launch with Metroid. It's gonna have 3D glasses. It's gonna have a controller for both of your hands. It's also gonna come with a new, I don't know, think of the game you want to have a new installment, a new Eternal Darkness game, and you know, think of another game that you want to see come back, and you know, you're going to be disappointed. It's not. It's going to have Mario. It's going to be a new system. It might have smartphone capability. It might be this hybrid system we've been hearing about. You know, but you know, we're Nintendo fans here. We're preaching to the choir. I'm sure for most of the audience here. I don't think it's going to be too hard to just say, hey, Nintendo has a good track record of releasing cool things. If you're someone who's given a 3DS or a Wii U a chance, you're probably someone that then is also listening to this, and you know that, you know, usually something cool comes along, but we should wait and see and let them you know, develop it. You know, for me, if it gets, you know, if I could say one thing, I would kind of say maybe a little bit more power under the hood is worth chopping some other features. I just, you know, you can't shoot yourself in the foot like that and have all these developers who, you know, use the power excuse to not come to the Nintendo system. You know, that's granted, it is an excuse. They know it's just not going to sell in a lot of cases, but the power or the development problems that they say that they have coming over, you know, the Cars debacle that you, Matt, described very adequately in that article you put up on IGN. Nice. You know, things like that. There's a lot of like reasons they give excuses. We should at least see Nintendo shut down that excuse. Say, no, look, it's powerful. It uses a similar operating system that you can build on if you want to. You know, and then okay, so now if you're going to say you're not going to bring your game to our system, it's just because you're admitting that, like, look, Nintendo fans are a little bit insular and don't you know, they don't buy it if it doesn't have Mario on the cover, and that can be true sometimes, admittedly. So, you know, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I like when Nintendo introduces cool technology, because, like, oh, you could use this in cool ways, but they've shown over the last, like, 10 years that they can't really utilize their technology well. Like, they come up with cool concepts, like, this would be a cool concept, and then they're like, I hope someone figures it out one day. It's like, can you not? Like, the Wii U, like, 2 years in, they're like, here's some demo units of what we could do with the thing, and then Iwata saying, like, we should use the gamepad more. It's like, you shouldn't have made this unless you already had, like, plan ideas.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, me sitting on the sidelines as, you know, someone who's not in the industry, half of me is like, on some days I sit there and think, and we can go on about this subject, since we're a Nintendo-related, you know, situation here, I think it's okay to talk about it. I sometimes think what you should really be doing is expanding your development teams to insane levels. You should be doubling them. If the problem is that people don't buy anything that's not Nintendo produced, well, here's a solution. Just make all the games. Now, I know I'm saying crazy things there. The cost would be astronomical, but it does occur to me some days when there's these shortfalls in, like, release schedules and things like that for one of their systems. I think, guys, I mean, then just make more games. I know that's not as simple as it sounds. We're talking billions of dollars, you know. You know, but there's that, you know, that I think, okay, well, solve it. You know, like, you have a lot of IPs. You've proven with things like Splatoon recently, and the block dropping game with the little fat sumo guy on 3DS, Crashmo. You know, you can make new IPs. You know, there's plenty of examples. We can go down the list, you know, of successful, especially Splatoon now on its way, well climbing the charts into the 10th best-selling Wii U games, and by the time it finishes, I'm betting it's going to hit top 5. It's got to knock out some big hitters to get into the top 5, but it's already at $1.5 million, and you can do this. You guys show it again and again. Then you need to just ignore the rest of the industry, do your own thing, put out enough games for this new system. You know, that's where I keep coming back to that in my head. I think just like the way the projections are for the NX, if things do get delayed and pushed, then you're doing the right thing. to start that system strong, but then you got to keep it up for 5 straight years, where you have like 8 games a year, 8 big games a year, some crazy number like that, but wishful thinking perhaps, but we'll see.
Well, I think one solution I like so far that they're doing that doesn't necessarily require them to buy other studios or increase their own studio size is collaborations. So they collaborated with Team Ninja for Hyrule Warriors,
right.
And the Game Freak or whatever the Pokemon company is teaming up with the Tekken guys to make Pokken Tournament, which is kind of cool. So I think those are interesting ways to say, hey, we're not just
Definitely.
making Mario, Super Mario 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. It's like, here's the IP being used in a different way that you wouldn't expect, and kind of freshening up those series in a way you wouldn't have thought.
Definitely. I think that's cost a ton of money, but I think it's definitely similar to what I was getting at.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. They can harness that power. It's what Sega did when Sega made its big push back in the day to try to take Genesis over the top. They did the same thing, like with getting outside units into their pocket and working with them to develop stuff. It worked. It almost toppled. It had a good shot at coming at Nintendo back in the day. And different things worked out that particular situation. But yeah, it's a crazy industry. I mean, the bigger question that looms over all of it is console futures versus smartphone and pocket gaming, for phones and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a question, but I think you're right. I think those outside development studios bring a lot to the table, obviously,
So the next piece of news is Dragon Quest XI has been announced for PS4 and 3DS. On the 3DS, it'll actually let you choose if you want to use the 3D models that's similar to Dragon Quest XI, that style, or the actual top-down 2D sprite style, which I think is pretty cool. So you can basically play it in like modern or classic style. But the interesting thing they said was they were considering bringing it to the NX. So what's interesting about this, besides that it might shed some light on how close the NX is since they're aiming for a 2016 release, is the fact that Dragon Quest XI runs on Unreal Engine 4. So for those who don't know, the Wii U can't run Unreal Engine 4, and I don't think there's a way they can make it work on Unreal Engine 3, or maybe it would just take too much work to do it. I don't know. Let's just say whatever's on Unreal Engine 4 can only work on that and can't be ported. So that would mean if they're considering bringing it to the NX, it would have to be able to run Unreal Engine 4, which makes me think, okay, is the NX now actually going to have some power behind it, or is it just that Square Enix just wants to make a down-ported game just so they can have like a launch title to try to get some early adopters in?
I've talked enough, so I'll hang back, let you... What's your handle again? I want to refer to you by the correct handle, and I almost said the wrong name just now.
You can just call me by Malik.
Moik, okay, Moik, thank you. Moik, please have at it. I talked for like 25 paragraphs on the last question, so...
It was awesome. I like it. But, it just makes me think this whole... Well, I'm not too savvy with the whole Unreal Engine 4 stuff, but from hearing that does make me think that the Wii U does have some power behind it. But I'm not sure what this could mean, and to think that they're already saying that it could be for the NX, it just well, I don't know. I don't know what to think of the NX right now, and the more I think about it, the more it just makes me just uneasy for what the future is going to bring. And but that's all I have for that, because I'm not really invested in Dragon Quest or that stuff. But what do you guys think?
Matt, I think it's an interesting tidbit, and I think it's some really good reasoning that it's like, well, if A equals B, then therefore C must be true. It's literally the case, basically, the way the reasoning is outlined that I understand it. So if I have it correct, to reiterate for the listeners, if Dragon Quest XI is slated for Unreal Engine 4, and they've said Unreal Engine 4, Dragon Quest XI will be on NX, then therefore a really good engine that sucks a certain amount of power out of a machine must be able to run on. Is that correct? I have it straight?
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's cool, I mean, because it would seem unlikely that a game that's current is going to get downported. You never know with Nintendo. That might happen. They might release a Dragon Quest XI Special Edition.
Special in quotations. The
special,
other special.
It doesn't have everything.
Less areas, but more fun.
Yeah.
But I really couldn't say. That makes me hopeful because, not being someone who plays a lot of other consoles, but admittedly, can't deny it, I do like it when some of the biggest games from the other consoles show up on Nintendo. I am one of the 5 people out here who buy them. Mm-hmm. I bought 2 of the Batman games that showed up on Wii U, hadn't played them anywhere else, had a good time playing them. Wouldn't have had the opportunity because I'm a stickler and just too busy to own other systems and play other things. So I'd be psyched, if that kind of stuff can show up here, even if, unfortunately, again, back to the same thing, even if unfortunately they're going to do all that work and then only 5% of the people who own the system are going to buy the games because those same people are going to end up buying them on Sony or a Microsoft system, but it's promising. The trick is, I always wonder, how much of a difference does this make if they can, say, run a big top-tier engine like that on a Nintendo system, because Nintendo seems to just do their own thing anyway. How much is Nintendo going to use that engine, themselves, for development of their own games? It's hard to say. But if they're gonna make the effort to maybe come a little more to the center where the other systems are living, it does seem to, at least only be a good thing if it doesn't hamper them in other ways or suck development money or other things away from the true core Nintendo stuff I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think they're in a weird position where it seems almost impossible that moving on from the Wii U, they don't put in enough power where it can run whatever the modern engine is. Just because it's I know Nintendo trails behind the other consoles, but the other consoles are going to be here for the next couple of years, so the Wii U has kind of a, not jump start, but they get to jump in when the next generation is starting early again. But I don't know. I can't see them being we're going to be low powered. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know how to phrase it.
You can't see it. It could happen.
I don't know, because the next generation just started. So how could they release a new console that can't even compare? At least, I mean, it's not like the PS4 and Xbox One have been out for 5 or 6 years. I mean, by the time the NX comes out, they still would only be halfway through or less. So I don't know, it doesn't make how much of a gap is there between the Wii U and PS4 that Nintendo would be in that middle somehow? It just seems like it's almost an impossible predicament.
It's hard to say, man. We should wait. Circling back to the same thing we were saying earlier. Personally, I'm gonna wait and not bet either way. Is as crazy as it might sound in one reasoning, they did it with the Wii. They, as the phrase became, it's Nintendo's on their own development cycle is the way people sort of justified it, And there is some truth, and not just fanboy defensiveness to that. It's they are the outsider who walks their own road. In fact, they like to think of themselves as the ones who make the road, and that's not true when it comes to power and these things we're talking about. But I would not personally allow this come toward us the next system, whatever it is, whatever this thing is. It could be anything. We really don't know. We're all making a lot of assumptions, even to assume it's a console, whatever. But to assume that they would care, and that's where I always come back to. That I'm well, I'm gonna wait because there's going to be all kinds of debates. Wii U came out, and for a while we had these debates whether it had parity or not. And then, as time goes on, I guess kind of is basically essentially established it does not have parity with current systems in terms of power, no matter how you juggle the numbers. it's close-ish, sort of, kind of to the last generation, whatever, and leave it at that. Maybe they'll care, maybe they won't. But again, yeah, I come back to personally not knowing.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just sustaining my own sense of like happiness by not being willing to commit to being pissed off if they don't do what we think they should do.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I guess my point is that, like, with each console, they automatically add more power because they want to do more things or have a better running operating system or whatever. So if they're obviously going to add some power to it, how could they add such a such a small fraction where they came and run like one of the modern engines, right? It just seems weird, but I think that's enough of that I talked about. So yeah, 2 more NX things. I hope you guys are fine with that. Game Explained brought up a good point. Is Retro working on a Metroid for NX? So basically, the studio themselves, or the Metroid producer, whatever, said if we started now, it wouldn't be on the Wii U, it would be on NX. And Retro has been adding, like, just hiring people for like the last 3 years now, and we still don't know what the heck they're doing. Crap, what was the main point of this? Yeah, I guess. Do you think?
Rock the theme song.
I guess. Do you think Retro's working on a Metroid for NX? Like, what could they have possibly been working on for so long? I mean, I figured they were working on a Wii U game, but maybe they were working on something, and now because it's getting so late into the Wii U's life, they're like switching development sides.
Should I go first?
Yeah, maybe. Please go. Yeah.
Okay, so I've been keeping tabs on, ever since Tropical Freeze came out, I've been keeping tabs on, like, what Retro has been doing, because Retro, ever since Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze, which are 2 of my favorite platformers of all time, I've been keeping tabs on them, seeing what they've been doing, and I just love hearing stuff from them.
Yeah.
And, like, the first time, like, I've heard things like, they said that the next game that they're working on is not Metroid, nor is it Donkey Kong, though they would like to revisit those games sometime in the future. But I don't know. Like, you can't believe everything you hear, because like look at Masahiro Sakurai with half of the stuff he says.
Yeah.
Like, you can't believe anything that he says. And like, I've heard things like they're getting, but like they have so many people in the company that they could be working on 2 different games at the same time. I've heard things saying that I've heard rumors saying that Retro Studios is working on a Diddy Kong Racing for the Wii U. That's a big rumor that's been going around for the last 2 years or so.
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't really think it had credence, because when I first saw it, basically the guy's point was like, Diddy wasn't in Mario Kart 8, therefore they're working on it. That's what I saw, like, it summed up to. I'm like, Anyway, sorry, go on, Malik.
That same guy is going on with, like, he's back with more rumors and stuff, like Diddy Kong Racing Wii U is happening because the NX is coming out this year, and at E3 Iwata held bananas, and
oh my god,
2013 at E3 2013 he held bananas, and Tropical Freeze came out later to the
oh my god. Oh
that pretty much sums up. I'm like, come on, you need something better than that.
So I have no idea what they could be working on, but, like, personally, I would like to see one more Donkey Kong Country game from them, just so we get a perfect trilogy, and then they make a 3D Donkey Kong game, then they get sold off to Sony, and then we have to go through another drought of no Donkey Kong stuff. But, yeah, I wouldn't be, like, I like Metroid, and I wouldn't be objected. Is that the word I'm looking for? I wouldn't have a problem with them making a Metroid for the NX, but yeah, I really don't know what they're working on. And remember earlier this E3 when they were teasing, like, when E3 was about around the corner, they retweeted, like, some kind of E3 post, and they said, "Can you dig it?" So we were thinking that we were going to see something from them this year, but nothing happened, and we were like, what's going on? This is like E3 2012 when they said that they were going to show something, which was Tropical Freeze, but they didn't show it, and I'm getting that we're going through that same thing again, and it's really eating away at me at what that could possibly be. Like, what is it? Is it really Diddy Kong Racing, Wii U? Is it Donkey Kong Country Returns 3? Is it Metroid? Is it something completely new? I really don't know what it could be, but I want to find out soon, because I love seeing what those guys work on. So yeah, that's what I got.
Neat. Personally, no, neat. I think you kind of outlined like my thoughts on it entirely. I'd seen those Diddy Kong rumors as well. I like that you guys follow this stuff, especially the level of like the rumor mongers that are out there. I think it would be valuable if somebody would establish a website where simply all they did was track like rumors based on names, like attributable rumors, so to speak, and then later followed up on them, because these kind of things, I feel like, because I follow politics pretty closely, and there are people who do that, where they track predictions and claims and forecasts of semi-truths, and then later debunk them and say, for the point of almost showing how often this stuff is just nonsense. In gaming, it's probably even worse, because politics, you can at least quantify how many people are in the game, and in gaming, it's just almost infinite these days. Point being, for me, not being someone who follows rumors and the industry kind of outsider like talk as much as I probably would like to if I had more time, my gut is that it's definitely Metroid. I am guilty of being a little Metroid biased there. Not only do I really, of course, love the series, like any good little fanboy for Nintendo does, because it's dark, and it's the one series that's really dark,
It's the only dark thing that Nintendo has.
And it's got a hot protagonist when she takes off her suit, and Smash Brothers is sweet. But but other than those factors, I am a little guilty and biased of always kind of being one of the people that's, even if I'm not the one posting it in my feed or something like that, is the one that's hoping for the new Metroid game at E3. How many years can you count where you were the one hoping for that? Well, it's like everyone. You're like, I hope it's a new Metroid game. And then there never is one, and you're kind of disappointed about it. I mean, it's got to be another Prime game. Those games did really well. Comically, a little bit of personal irony, I am not the biggest fan of Prime. And I can see heads explode when I admit I liked Other M better than I liked Prime 3. Like, I thought Prime 3 was just like, okay, I've had enough of the first-person-ish shooter, Like, I really personally... I mean, I actually thought about doing a blog on IGN about this. I just didn't get around to it, frankly, of kind of taking a survey of, like, I think Other M is having a little bit of a resurgence, because whenever it gets posted about, I notice... There's a certain amount of people who come out of the woodwork right away to defend it. Almost, it's having almost like this weird hipster resurgence to be like, oh no, like I always liked it. I don't think it's actually hipster. I think people actually did like the game, and that the negativity surrounding Other M was loud enough that it created a certain legacy for the way that game will always be viewed. Yeah. I really enjoyed the way they tried to kind of make a hybrid 2D, 3D game. I thought it was really clever. I grant that using the motion control / Wiimote was kind of stupid. At points, it got old, but I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was beautiful. I the voice acting, whatever, forget about it. Like, it's stupid. The plot wasn't the greatest. I don't care about those things personally, and I grant that is important to a lot of people. I really enjoyed the gameplay. Point of all that being, even in spite of biases pushing me in two different directions, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be Prime 4, but it won't be named Prime 4. It'll be something else with the title, because Nintendo's not into like endless series with numbers. Albeit they did do it with Mario Kart and suddenly number the series or whatever. But I think it's got to be. I just think it's got to be. This would be like orders coming down from the top of the shareholder type. We need a game. We need a big game. What sold well? What haven't we had in a while? Retro, you're our bitch. Make us our game. Like that's it. Sorry to make the podcast explicit, but it's how I roll.
No, don't worry. Flea has done that. Flea and Mike have done that plenty of times.
Okay, but I think it's just business when it comes down to it, whether or not we like it. I think that's Diddy Kong Racing. I'm a big fanboy. I wouldn't buy it. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, well, whatever. I'd be like, I already have Mario Kart. That's enough. Like if this Project Cars thing ever materializes, I'll buy it. Just because I want to support it. But Diddy Kong Racing, I'll wait for the reviews. Would be my reaction to that. I don't see what's different about that game to make me want it. Whereas Metroid, even in spite of how angry I got at Prime 3 with the mapping system just feeling stupid and broken, and half the time me not knowing where I'm supposed to be going and like getting bored and being like, this isn't even hard. The only hard thing about this game is that I can't find where I'm supposed to be, and getting tired of it by the end and having to force myself to quite literally finish it. And I know that's heresy for some people out there, and I apologize, but I had enough of Prime because the 3 games are pretty similar when you get down to the mechanics of it, and but I'll still buy it, and even with my biases, and I think there'd be a huge number of people out there that would jump on board for a Prime 4. So It's got to be that. It just seems to be natural, and it's going to be NX at this point. It's not going to be Wii U. They're going to save that one for sure. So
I'm not personally crazy about Metroid. I never got into it, so I would want to see them do something different. But pretty much based off of their past experience with how well they've handled Nintendo IP and just overall made great games, they're basically the Rare of Nintendo now. I kind of do want to see them make something new just to see okay, what can this studio do once you let their reins go, because I'm sure it'd be awesome.
Have you played enough of the Metroid games to make a comment on what you'd like to see new? Because I have a hard time thinking of what I'd want to see.
I have no. I don't mean new for Metroid. I mean a new IP. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I don't know, their track record is just so good. It's okay, well, let's see what they can do without having to confine themselves to someone else's property.
I'd be down with that. I agree. I think I think their games are so amazing, visually and in mechanics. They make very polished games. I'd be down with it. Would it sell without a big marquee title on it? It's hard to say. Splatoon proved us all wrong. I don't think it can be underestimated how big Splatoon is, I'm sure, for the company, because not just sales. It's we made a new thing. It's a little cutesy. It's a spin that's in a different direction of a popular sort of game, and yet it's just blowing the doors off. People are talking esports for Splatoon. People are buying it, in droves. So it could break both ways, and I don't know. I wonder in terms of business sense whether they'd want to. I don't know how these things work at the round tables when a big company like Retro meets with Nintendo. Who gets the say?
Well, it also helps when you market the game, right?
Yeah.
Because Splatoon's gotten a ton of more marketing than any other game I've seen from Nintendo, even a Mario game, just with where it's plastered. But
well, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
that's good to hear. So maybe they're getting the idea then.
Yeah, let's move on to the next thing. So apparently Zelda U. So Nintendo made a list of games coming in 2016, just their release schedule. Here's what you can expect, blah blah blah. And Zelda U isn't on there. It's listed as to be determined. So is it going to be delayed again? And is it going to be delayed because I don't know, maybe rather than just an NX port, they want to add more features to make it that much better, or I don't know, or is it just a normal delay twice in a row where they're just no, we just want to make it better or something?
Malik, you want to grab
it? Sure. Well, the more I hear about Zelda Wii U, the more and more I don't want to think it, but the more I hear about it getting pushed back, being worked on, the more I think that it's eventually just not going to come to the Wii U. It's not even going to be the worst case scenario. It's not even going to be a Twilight Princess kind of situation where it came out on both the GameCube and the Wii. At this point, it just kind of seems like it's just going to be on. It's not going to be on the Wii U, and that kind of scares me. I'm not. I haven't played many Zelda games, but I can see how something like that would really upset both people who are wanting to buy a Wii U for Zelda, or people that just wanted to see Nintendo's Wii U do a little bit better with the Zelda. And now that might not be there, it's like, oh man, they just missed another prime opportunity to not even save the Wii U at this point, but just do a little bit more with it than what's being done now. And now that seems to be gone, it's just it's making me a little like with everything with the NX and the Wii U right now, the Wii U's uncertain future and the NX's future. It's just making me completely uneasy just thinking about everything.
I'm sorry, I've probably made you vomit after all of this talk then.
No, it's okay.
I mean, like, we only saw Zelda U basically once, which was the end of last year, I believe. And then, like, it seems like every year they're like, we'll have it at E3, and then it's like, no, we're not going to have it. Or we could have had something, but we didn't have it. Like, how many more times can they say that before they actually show us? Like, do you think, I don't know, maybe they will actually show Zelda in a direct before the end of this year?
Yeah, that is possible. Totally.
But I mean, it's just weird because they haven't, like, since then they haven't said anything else about it.
Yeah, and you would think that with Zelda being one of their top 3 franchises alongside Mario and Pokemon, that they would have just a lot more
coverage.
I'm not saying that they're not focused with what they're doing. I'm sure they're doing the best work that they can, but you think that they would have that out the door sooner than the end of the life cycle of a console. Like you usually get with most Nintendo consoles, you get one Zelda game at the beginning, and then you get another one at the end. And yeah, but we're getting the big one at the very end.
Well, they've done that 3 years in a row now, so it'll be Zelda U, if it comes on the Wii U, that'll be one, and then Twilight Princess was one, and then Skyward Sword was the same thing.
Yeah, and for the GameCube, it was like Wind Waker and the Twilight Princess thing.
Yeah, personally, I think it's getting close to where I'm believing it's an NX game now. Nintendo's not above saying one thing and then changing it later. It happens. We'll never be on smartphones. We're on smartphones. There's examples. And this strange not talking about it, kind of pushing it, now changing the release date. It really, it comes to a big question mark on when does an NX arrive? There's different factors. What I could imagine in a business sense, which is where you really need to go with stuff like this, is that Zelda U is possibly near done at this point. It's not done, but it's within a few months. They could have it out for late this year, and of course then they'd hold it for Christmas. But they're looking at their specs and their development for NX, whatever it is, figuring out how long till that's going to launch. And so they've got it in their pocket, basically. It's ready to roll, and they're looking at the chances, is this something we can bring to launch the next system? We hold it. There's no harm done here. We don't have to decide yet. So it's kind of we put it in our pocket. We don't talk about it. We let the fans freak out. Well, that's expendable capital, so to speak. The fans can just freak because they're not getting it anyway yet. And if you're looking at your numbers and you're saying to yourself, look, I got this one thing that can make me some money on one system, or we can use it to launch a new system and really possibly get the burn going for a new system, the choice is pretty obvious. You hold it. You hold it, and you put it on the new system. Hate to be cynical, but it's a money decision. It's we've got about 3 or 4 big things as a company that are our biggest. We have got Mario. He comes out every year in a different game, so he's not a problem. We've got, Smash. That comes out every 5 or 6 years if you're lucky. And the guy who makes it currently, probably his arms would fall off if we asked him to make another one. So with respect, I get it. You know what I mean? So we can't do that. Mario Kart, well, we could do that, but you don't want to burn. We don't want to go to the well too often. And we've been updating it, so it's not exactly an old game. So, you come to Zelda and you're like, yeah, we don't really have any other franchises between Metroid and Zelda that are like reasonably big in the United States, at least Metroid being bigger here than in Japan, that we need. So Zelda's your guy. Link is your guy. You're going to say like, yeah, put him up front. And maybe it is possible. Maybe we get the split release, just like you were saying, for the GameCube / Wii release. That's possible. They might do it again, and keep everyone happy. It's hard to say, but I'm thinking it's going to NX personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a small chance that they just put it as to be determined because they're not exactly sure if it'll come out in 2016, like if it'll make it by the end of the year, but it's possible it could be done by November, and they just don't want to, say for certain it will.
Yeah, I agree. Possible. It's tough to say. I work in a fairly large industry for my job, and there are so many factors, as Matt and I have talked about offline and things like that, but I often relate it to that. There's so many factors that go into big business decisions that when outsiders like us analyze it from like the perspective of like a user, a consumer, it's sometimes like we are literally just spitballing. We don't really know because decisions get made for very strange reasons sometimes, whether it's money, whether it's sales, whether it's timelines, whether it's like the book of business of what they've got in the chamber for way down the road, so we'll see. But Mike, it does seem very odd that we're not hearing a lot of talk about it. It should be, if this is a big game that's coming this year, we should hear a lot about it.
Yeah. Because
it's a big game and they want to start the hype train, and we're not seeing a hype train. The hype train hasn't even gotten to the station yet, to fill up and leave, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, I think I should retract my statement because I realized I'm an idiot. We're halfway through. Oh wait, no, it's 2015. I'm stupid for the wrong reasons. I was thinking it was the wrong year now. No, I was thinking they were thinking the end of this year.
I can confirm it is 2015 for the listeners.
Yeah. I was like, wait, we're halfway through the year, so of course it's going to be delayed till the next year. No, that's still a year away, moron. Get back in. Get back into reality.
Just wait till you get older, man. It won't seem as weird to get confused what year it is. You're just like, what year is it? It's like this 2001 is a great year. It's like, what are you talking about?
Oh gosh.
Good stuff.
So there's one last piece of interesting topic, and I think Malik, you'll be more interested in this than maybe the NX stuff. So the Smash Brothers update came out, and with it, it came with tournament mode and being able to save and post replays to YouTube. Still limited to 3 minutes, but whatever, it's there. You can still do it now. It has Hyrule Castle and Peach's Castle from 64, which is awesome because Hyrule Castle was obviously the best stage. And it comes with some Mii costumes. So what's interesting about this is that they have some different Mii costumes rather than just generic stuff. So they have Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia, which is owned by Namco, and they also have Crumb as well, which we know got cut for Robin. But they also have King K. Rool, which has been a fan favorite that people have been voting for in the Smash Ballot. So people are thinking that the Mii costumes automatically cut, just because there's a Mii costume mean we won't get that character. Do you guys think that's the case? For me, I think they want to hold off some characters for Smash 5 because they don't want to just say, okay, well, let's add the best characters everyone wants, because then they're leaving themselves short for the next game. So I think they're going to kind of go third-party route like Ryu and whatnot. What the heck? I can't hear anything.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry, I heard something cut out. Whatever. I guess there's no more hissing or whatever from someone's mic.
Moik, are you there?
Oh, shoot.
I think we lost Moik. That is probably what changed.
No, I think he's...
Well, moving on. I'm sure he'll dial back in while you handle that. I can answer your question. I think that, like, I do personally think that having K. Rool as a costume means he's out. Like, that trademark thing that popped up that people are saying, oh, look, they trademarked it. He's in. He's one of the votes. No, they did it because of the costume, and it's just Occam's razor type reasoning. Like
with the Donkey Kong phrases like crap. What was that stupid phrase? Whatever, they trademarked a phrase just so they could use it in a commercial, and now no one else can say it. Oh, it's on it's on like Donkey Kong.
I was not familiar with that, but yes, I would say it sounds similar to whatever I'm getting at. I think yes, I think that's. I think we are digging for data. We're fishing for all this like kind of hints. People are out there digging this stuff up, and yeah, this is a case where we're overestimating what we're seeing. You know, it's simple. He's in the game now as a costume. Maybe they'll do a direct. This is my guess. They'll do a direct in a few weeks, months, whatever, and they'll say whoever's going to handle the directs now is going to say the reason we put K. Rool in the game is because he got a lot of votes, but he is not the winner. You know, and so we're giving him almost a nod as a runner-up, you know, for the contest because you guys like really threw a lot of votes his way, which makes it really interesting to speculate then, like if somebody who had a lot of fans behind him, such as K. Rool, because I saw a lot of buzz around him being a character, then who are the characters that won? You know, you got to wonder.
Yeah, so that's why I think they'll go third party, just because they're like, we know we have a ton of characters people want, but if we use them all now, then we'll have kind of nothing left for the next sequel. So I think that's why they'll go with like third party or kind of the lower tier cast. So yeah, Malik, why don't you give your impressions of K. Rool as DLC and if that means anything to you?
Okay, sorry about that. My power just went out for like a split second,
No
and the internet connection went out. I don't know why, but yeah. What were you guys talking about, like K. Rool?
Yeah, so people are thinking that because K. Rool has a Mii costume that he isn't going to be one of the ballot characters.
Well, let's see. Like, when I first saw that, I was really, like, freaking out for a second because, like, I thought that might have been the case. Like, it's like Sakurai might have seen the Smash Ballot stuff, and he was like, I don't like K. Rool. You guys just make a Mii costume. Here's what you get. Even though like we said, you could vote for whatever, and I didn't say we had to make it. Like, I'm making the game. That I have final say, not you people. And that's what I thought at first. But I'm thinking, like, that's probably not what's happening. I mean, Sakurai knows that there are a lot of fans that want characters like King K. Rool in the game, and some people are like saying, well, look at the Meta Knight kind of mask thing that appeared before Smash Brothers Brawl, and some people are saying that stuff didn't really count, and this is kind of different, but like I said before, Sakurai is known for just throwing curveballs everywhere, and who knows what this could mean? Like, just some predetermined rules that he set back like a year ago mean nothing now. Like a while back he said, oh, Smash Brothers isn't getting any DLC. Oh, Smash Brothers isn't going to get any more third-party characters. And that's exactly what we got. We got Mega Man, we got Ryu, we got all the DLC. This thing is just a platform for DLC now. So really, I don't see why this costume should say just the dream is dead right now. So
that's fair. I think you pushed me back to neutral, because just before you rejoined, I was saying I think it's definitively no. I was saying I read it. This is fun because this is where we're really reading the Nintendo tea leaves here. We're just looking into the crystal ball and looking at myths and trying to interpret clouds here. Because for me, my take was he's almost giving a nod and saying he was a runner-up in the votes, and saying, yo, some of you are going to be pissed that like he didn't make it, but we'll throw you a bone. Here is a costume for the character that was like 7th in the votes or whatever. So who knows? I mean, that's really interesting. You pushed me back to the middle, where it's fair to say, like, because I mean, Little Mac was a trophy in the last version. I was of the mindset that, like, although he should be in the game, he's already a trophy, so he won't be. Well, no, that wasn't true. Mac is, although he's underpowered and kind of not that great of a fighter, he's in the game now, that kind of thing.
And I mean, sorry to interject, but
it's okay.
Oh, it's okay.
Crap, I always forget. What was
You
I
are
gonna
the
say?
host.
Jeez, I'm terrible. Sorry, go on, and then I'll try to remember.
No,
What
I
was
was
thinking.
finished. The K rule. I think Malik has pushed me back to the center on being. It could break either way. Personally, I still think he's not, and I think it was more of a runner-up prize where they're big on these costumes, and they looked at the votes, and the votes have probably settled down by now. To like pretty much where they're going to be, and they're already working on the winners. So, do we have a timeline when the winners are going to be announced and we're going to be able to get them?
So the ballot ends in October.
Oh, so the ballot is still open. So,
Yeah, so I'm not going to freak out until the ballots close and I see what's going on, because this could just be, like, just a little, like, they could be working on K. Rool right now, because he's, like, one of the biggest supporters, like, even after this costume came out, people are like, don't stop, just keep voting, everybody, just keep voting, and
That's
this
funny.
it's going nuts. So I'm not going to freak out until everything is said and done, and I see another Smash Brothers trailer, and then when I see it's not K. Rool, then I'm going to flip a table.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I don't even think he's that interesting of a character. So for me, I'm sort of like don't understand the big get behind for K. Rool, but it's cool. We don't all have to agree on the characters that should be in the game. Me, I want like Leisure Suit Larry and stuff from like classic '80s series. I want some classic adventure game characters, and we got Pac-Man guys. We can get like or something
Simon
really
Belmont.
goofy. Like, yeah, Simon Belmont, Space Invaders. Like, we need the Space Invaders. Just, like, come in the game and, like, blast people, But, yeah, wishful thinking, But, King K. Rool to me is, like, I could see him working because you could analyze it down to the, like, kind of class he'd be. He'd be a big fighter, maybe a brawler, like, he'd be heavy. But me, I'm like, I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of personality. I mean, maybe that's because, like, I'm not as crazy about the original Donkey Kong games as I should be, or the Donkey Kong Country games as I should be. But hey, he's in. He definitely is Nintendo core. For me, for my money, if we were going to go that direction, I'd want what's his name, Wart, like from the end of Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah,
He's awesome, man. Like we could, he's kind of goofy, but like he's big and fat and funny and. Part of one of the good games, so hey.
I think this could also be they're just throwing a costume out there just to gauge people's interest to see how much people might want it. Yeah. Like they did that with the Inklings too. They're like, here's some Inklings costume, and here's like pretty much every other third party character. So maybe they're just kind of throwing out costumes, maybe gauging interest based off of sales and just off of internet reaction. Like
only problem with that strategy would be who in the hell buys Mii Fighter costumes?
No one.
That's what I want to know. I'm like,
I
buy quite literally during this podcast while we're sitting here talking. I fired up my Wii U gamepad because you reminded me that all the new content came out and I still hadn't downloaded the new stages and set up my download for the two new N64 stages. And I looked at all that other stuff and I was like, why would I want costume for the Mii Fighters, the characters I never use? And you know what? I could care less how they look.
Yeah.
I hate to be a hater. I'm not. I'm sure somebody likes it, but what good does this do me? I mean, I wish Mike was here to tell me, and I'm sure he would just hate on it and say how horrible it is and how stupid it is, but with love, of course. But I want to know, does anybody play Mii Fighters? I play a lot of Smash Bros. And I never see anyone pick Mii Fighters. That's all I can say.
I mean, I think the costumes look cool and all, but yeah, same thing. I don't have an interest in Mii Fighters. I might play this one character I made, the Flash, because I made him super speedy, and it's fun to just pretend I'm the Flash. But other than that, it's why am I going to pay money to still have the same moveset? I don't know.
Yeah, it's they never feel that good to me. The most I've played them is for the challenges where you have to do something ridiculous with the one is, I don't know, it was beat the 100-man Smash in under 3 minutes with a gunner. I'm probably getting that wrong, but it's something like that. And you get to know them, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting to know the movesets. You feel like a combination hybrid of 2 or 3 different characters, legitimate, so to speak, characters. You got some of Samus's attributes, you got some of this, you got some of that. Cool, okay. And if I wanted to play a character like this, I'll play Samus because Samus is cool and you're not a me.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm surprised they haven't made costumes for actual characters people use. Because I'm sure I know there's plenty of ideas people have. Like, personally, I want one of the cosplay Pikachus as a Pikachu. Either Luchador or the Rockstar. I don't care. I want one of them, and I'll pay money for it.
That's cool.
There's just so many cool costumes that they haven't done, and people would actually pay for them because, they actually use those characters.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just...
people must be buying them. They're pumping them out. Or maybe
guess.
it's just that... Maybe it's just that they're that easy and cheap to make.
I'm sure it's that, because it's all the same model, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the Mii Fighters are just built to be this. Like, they're a Barbie doll, so it's like, well, stick stuff... I mean, they are. Think about it, stick stuff on them, It's like replaceable headsets, replaceable hairlines, like, it's what it is, I mean, Lego characters would be a better analog, maybe, you can just, like, replace all the parts on them or whatever, but, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, I literally went in there, I'm like, I didn't buy Roy because I don't really play the Fire Emblem characters. Personally, they're not my bag in Smash. But I'm going to have to buy Roy because we're talking about having like a local tournament with some friends at my house, in fact. So I have to have all the characters for everybody just in case. But I bought literally everything else, like all the stages, all the characters, of course, whatever. It's not that much stuff at this point. But at this point, my Smash Brothers disc plus DLC has cost me closing in on $100, or if not more. And I'm still buying, but the Mii Fighter stuff is lost on me. I'm like, whatever. But it's cool. I'm glad it's there if people like it. So
I remember the point I made before of having a costume doesn't cancel them out, because when the game first came out, someone was like, "Oh, Mewtwo's in the game," and then we found out after he wasn't, and people were saying, "Oh, Mewtwo has a trophy in the game. He's not gonna come out." Blah blah blah, and then what do you know? We actually get Mewtwo. So
good point.
So
good point.
Like again, Sakurai trolling. Like he I'm sure he knew he was gonna make Mewtwo his DLC, but he still put Mewtwo in there, and then.
Good point.
That tricked a bunch of people.
Can you still get the trophy in the game? They didn't rewrite it, so
they're two separate trophies.
Right? Okay, right. Okay, just checking. Like, I was just curious. So this whole new, the game gets updated and all this stuff changes and you don't know what it is. Thing throws me off. So just checking.
Yeah.
So cool.
Malik, do you have any personal favorites you want as a Smash Ballot besides King K. Rool, obviously?
Besides King K. Rool.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I really do. I would like to see Shovel Knight, even though he's like relatively new. And I don't know. I don't know if Shovel Knight has even released in Japan at this point. But I would like to see Shovel Knight in there. But for I guess it's more possible Smash Ballot contenders. I guess I would like to see Rayman, because Rayman is just one of my favorite video game characters. And ever since that Smashified by Artsiami, I've always wanted. I just, the dream is like, it's there, like it could happen.
Yeah.
But those are two I really want to see. I also want to see Banjo and Kazooie because just the very idea, like back when Nintendo still owned Rare. Rare was like I think they were a second party. No, were they?
Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah, I think they were a second party. You would see Nintendo merchandise with Banjo and Kazooie right up beside Mario and Kirby and Yoshi and stuff like that. Yeah. And to think that if they had been around for like 3 more years before Microsoft, like if Microsoft bought them in like 2006, we could have seen Banjo and Kazooie in like Super Smash Brothers Melee or Brawl. Like if they had been around today, we probably would have seen them in a Smash Brothers game at this point. Like, it's not even questionable. Like, you would have seen them, but those guys, they belong. Like, I know they just feel more at home with Nintendo than they do Microsoft, and it would be nice to see them in Smash Brothers, really.
Yeah.
So those are my 3.
Yeah, I love Banjo. I mean, they're basically made for the game. Not just the fact that, like, the art style suits Smash Brothers, but just all of their moves. Like Rayman, like, you can already imagine a moveset just the way they play in the game. Just so
totally.
Perfectly made. I love Banjo and Kazooie. But besides them, because they're my number one, I think that one of the custom Robo characters would be cool, or Ray Mark III, the main one. Just because, like an RPG character, he has a lot of moves to pull from, so you could definitely make some stuff out of that. I guess he'd be somewhat similar to Mega Man with projectiles and whatnot, but I think he'd have more physical attacks than Mega Man does, since his are like all projectiles. I think he'd be cool. But one character I think deserves some love is so we don't get a lot of Zelda characters, which is a shame because it's one of my favorite series and like it's one of Nintendo's biggest series, and somehow they haven't given A Link to the Past any love, even though it's like one of the best, if not the best Zelda games. So I actually want to see Vaati be a playable fighter. He could like turn into bats and like throw bats at people and like used wind powers and whatnot. Like I don't know. I don't even know of all the moves he could do, but I think he'd be like a really cool character to have in there.
I think that would be an interesting character. I think you would lose some audience appreciation there because you're talking about a character from one game, if I'm not mistaken. And usually they want to go for a character that's like kind of a little, like got a little bigger history.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I'd have to look at I mean, maybe the Fire Emblem characters. I'm not sure. I don't know that series as well, but
Vaati's been in a couple of games, but yeah, he's not like he's not like huge, obviously, as Ganon.
Okay.
But he's more than any of the other villains that people want, like Girahim or Zant or whatever.
Is Girahim Tongue Man?
Yeah.
The guy with the tongue? Yeah. like I thought he was going to be in it actually for the new one because I thought they would want to push the Skyward Sword legacy.
Yeah.
And so that he was a trophy is cool, but it was funny because I thought he kind of fit, and I was looking at him as like maybe another Zelda character because I think you're right when you say that there's for being such a big series. Well, there are 4 Zelda slots maybe that I'm remembering because of Toon Link, Regular Link, Zelda, and Ganon.
And Sheik.
So that's pretty good representation overall.
Yeah.
You know, but you're right. I mean, for such a big series, they could afford another slot for another Zelda character. When you say Vaati, that's the thing. It's like, me as someone who's played almost every Zelda game, but I'm not as, like, I don't know, how would you say, up on the mythology of it. I don't pay attention to the story as much, and I admit I don't remember a lot of the stories or the characters after I'm done. I mainly play them for the puzzles and stuff and just ram through them and then kind of forget them, to be honest. I know it's heresy as a Nintendo fan. But when you say Vaati, I think, wait, which one is that? You know what I mean? And that's my reaction, even as a Nintendo player. So I wonder if test marketing alone would kill that dream, even though I would hope for it for you, you know?
Yeah. I think out of any of the Zelda characters, he would be more interesting to play as. Just because there's not too many other Zelda characters, I don't think that'd be good. Like, I know the Majora's Mask character would be cool, but Sakurai already said he doesn't want like a 3-in-1 character like Pokemon Trainer or Zelda and Sheik again. But
you're overlooking someone really important, though, my friend.
Before you go on, I was gonna say out of the 3, like Pokemon Trainer, I think Darunia as a Goron would be a cool character out of the Zelda races if they did that. I think either a Goron or Vaati would be a cool Zelda character, but go on.
Is Goron, when you say Goron, are you saying like a generic Goron, or can you explain that?
Well, it could be Darunia, which is from Ocarina of Time.
Right.
It doesn't really matter, it's just some Goron.
Right. Which is the problem with Gorons to me. They're just some Goron. Every time I see them on the screen, I'm like, good God, please, can we get past these Gorons?
Well, I mean, Pokemon are just technically like animals, right?
I'm just being a hater. If Mike's not here, somebody's got to be a hater. Like, you know, come on. I'm like, Gorons, boring, move on. Like,
Goron, more like Boron.
Well, it was right there. It was right there, and I missed it. Come on. Like, no, I think there's a critical issue, though, you're circling around. Mm-hmm. I think it's the name that wants to remain unsaid. I know we're all thinking it. I have to be the one to bring it up. If you're going to talk Zelda, why isn't Tingle playable? I mean, come on. People, he is the greatest Zelda character. I know they gave him a trophy, and the trophy's super annoying, and it's awesome, the way, or whatever you call it, like the effect when he moves the screen around and all that stuff. I love it because it's annoying. Because it plays right to his character. It's perfect fan service. It's like, oh, he does something really annoying and weird, and I can't stand it. And great, why'd you release him? And it's awesome. And I'm loving it. I'd play Tingle. Number 1. No, bring back Ice Climbers. What about that? I mean, I know they said it's not capable in 3DS. Who cares? Who's playing the 3DS version anyway anymore? I'm sorry. Like, come on. Buy yourself a Wii U. Get over it. Like, come on. Like, you know, it's the better version. Like... Yeah. I said Purple Tentacle It was my vote. It really was. I voted for Purple Tentacle from Maniac Mansion / Day of the Tentacle. Amazing character. He would have such a dumb move set. It would be like he's just a tentacle. All he can do is like wave his tentacle, or like I think he gets like a laser gun in some scenes or whatever. But Travis Touchdown, we got to give some love. Like Suda51, Travis Touchdown. He just recently said that he would love to make another No More Heroes game. And since those, appeared on Nintendo systems, I think Travis, although he does not fit the ethos of Nintendo or Smash Brothers, they did put Snake in Brawl. Yeah. So Travis, with his laser sword and his I will kill you all, I don't care attitude, could fit. Yeah. Plus he's a wrestler. Or whatever too. So it's he's got kind of a dynamic move set. Zach, what are we talking about? Like Zach and Wiki?
Oh my gosh, that's the nichest of the niche. But that game was actually pretty fun.
That game was awesome, and it retails pretty well now. It's because it didn't sell well enough, so it's still got some it's got some cachet with people who are collecting Wii. I love that game. I never played those Banjo-Kazooie games, and I know you guys are gonna get those characters because that was, to me, the biggest push I saw on the internet. People were like, Banjo-Kazooie's got to be in the game, and I'm like, I never played those. And they're, you guys are like, but they were awesome, and I'm like, okay, fair enough, Beautiful Joe, obvious call. Everyone's been calling for it. I love Beautiful Joe 1 and 2. I don't know if that IP is viable to bring him over, but he would fit because he would have a really insane moveset. How do you do bullet time movement in Smash? I would love to see them just try to execute it, to get him in the game. But
every move is a counter.
Yeah, every move's a counter. Wow, interesting idea. It's just the way the game functions, that you go into the bullet time and you have the chance to knock out multiple enemies and stuff like that. I don't know, but yeah, my list could go on forever. I have multiple lists, but most of them are not viable. So those are the best ones I got. Yeah. So,
do you have any other thoughts, Malik, or any other characters you think?
Well, yeah, it's mostly other Donkey Kong stuff, the bottom of the barrel, ha ha ha. Yeah. But I would like to see, in case King K. Rool or Rayman or Shovel Knight, those are my big three, and Banjo-Kazooie. Mm-hmm. But the more lower on the list are Dixie Kong, Cranky Kong, Lanky Kong.
Yes.
Oh, man. I'd like to see one of those guys.
That'd be cool. Just smacking people
I don't even think I know who Lanky Kong is when you say that. I'm like, that's how low tier that is.
He's basically the dollism. Yeah. He's the dollism of Donkey Kong. He has incredibly long arms.
Nice. I'll have to Google it after the podcast. Yeah. I don't think I'm familiar with Mr.
You're gonna find a lot of stuff about Lanky Kong.
Oh gosh. It's a meme. Is it safe for work stuff?
Yeah, for work. I'm at home, so it's okay. It'll be great. My wife's asleep too. So.
Gosh, I think out of any other last pie in the sky characters I'd want is Agumon or Greymon, because technically, listen, Namco is developing the game and they have the rights to Digimon, so it's feasible. And they're relaunching Digimon Tri, which is basically the sequel to the original series. So he might have some voting potential. I don't think it's realistic, but I think it'd be cool to have him. He'd be fast like Pikachu and have bite and claw attacks, or if he's Greymon, he's slower, somewhat like Bowser, but can headbutt and bite the crap out of people. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool. I mean, Mario has Stinkin' Sonic. Why can't Pikachu have his rival as Agumon? Come on.
Well, everybody, the uninformed are just gonna think it's Charmander.
Yeah, they're what? They put Charmander in again.
Where's his flame?
Yeah. Why did they take away Charizard's wings?
So why is he wearing a war mask?
Yeah. Do you guys think it's realistic to think that they would just jam Splatoon into Smash this soon, given the sales? Because I've wondered about that a lot. I can't decide. Because me personally, it conflicts with a couple things that are personal, not necessarily realistic, and probably not defensible. I have this belief that Smash sort of should only be venerable characters, so to speak. Like, it's like people that have established themselves in the universe a little bit. Like bringing Ryu to Smash is a statement. It's not only that friggin' Street Fighter is like one of the most classic fighters of all time. It's that, like, you know, Smash brings in the big people. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I loved Shovel Knight, for instance. Thought it was friggin' brilliant. You know, amazing game. I'm behind 100%. But, like, to me, I'm like, yeah, but you just got here, Shovel Knight. I don't know if you deserve a spot. You know what I mean? Like, you need to get to Shovel Knight 3 before I can really, you know, evaluate whether you're going to be because who knows, Shovel Knight 2 can come out and be like awful, and we're all going to be like, that was a terrible series. You know, like one was good, but 2, boy, you know, wasted money. You know, like that kind of thing. And I'm not saying it shouldn't happen, because I think it's a very viable, seriously contender. You know, and I won't turn my nose up at paying my $4.99 or whatever to download him and see how he functions in the game or whatever. But yeah, for me, it's like that's where. And coming back to my question, Splatoon, brand new. However, cutting through the ranks like of Nintendo sales, you know, that it's like, no, this thing is a thing, you know, and it's you know, like, do they kowtow to the current trends and throw Splatoon in the game against fan votes? Just ignore fan votes, be like, Splatoon, you know, Inkling in the game, or not? Like, am I way off on that? You know, where are you guys at on that?
Let's see. Well, I think it might be, like, if I'm going from a logical side of things, I would think that, well, Splatoon is still very recent, and I wouldn't expect to see the Inklings until the hypothetical Smash 5. Mm-hmm. And but, you know, anything is really possible. Like, as I always say, like, Smash Brothers, Sakurai just throw a curveball and say, hey, you know what? I have no rules. We can just put the Inklings in here. We can do whatever. Let's put let's open it up to cartoon characters now. Like, I didn't say it.
Goku,
let's put Goku. Let's put Goku in there now. Let's put Shrek in there now. But, yeah, I think the Splatoon, the Inklings, I could really see either way. They could announce them like later this year, or maybe for Smash 5, like years down the road. I really have no idea, because just it's so unpredictable with Sakurai and his team. So yeah, but yeah, I'd be happy to see them in Smash 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. I see where you're coming from with you don't want to just choose the flavor of the month, and it's just like, this is what's popular now, and then they don't really have a legacy, and it's like, well, then I'm not really deserving of this spot versus you know, other characters. But I don't know, because like Malik said and you said, it really could go either way. I mean, they did at least put in an Inkling costume, so they're aware that people like it, or that at least Splatoon is popular. And then
I think you just nailed it. That would be way more. Well, wait, isn't there already an Inkling costume?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, they know there's interest at least, or maybe they just put it in because Splatoon is popular or whatnot. But I don't know. It could go the other way, where it's like, well, Splatoon is hot. Why not strike while the iron's hot? Like, everyone's talking about Splatoon now, and will be for the next couple of months. You know, wouldn't now be the best time to put them in, because then everyone will be buying them? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It could go either way.
I personally, and I know Matt's been getting recently into Splatoon pretty heavily, and I know Malik, I'm not sure if you played it.
Oh yeah, I do. It's awesome.
Yeah, right. Like, I can just see it working if, like, this character had ink. Maybe it's just because, let's be honest, I friggin' love Splatoon. But I'm like, somehow I can see it working, where there'd be a character who is mainly gun-based and jumping-based.
Mega Man.
Yeah, Mega Man works, you know what I mean? Like, and then you nerf him on some other attributes, and it's like the way it would work like Olimar does, where you hammer them with your Pikmin. This would be like your paint does damage, and you have like different colors of paint, and you like smack them and damage them, like, and they have to, like, you know, just the same as the way Olimar works, like shake off the paint or whatever, and you're damaged in the meantime. So,
yeah,
personally, I can see it working really well. Like, you know, so maybe it's just wishful thinking. But every time I think about it, I think, how does this work? Like, does Sakurai get a phone call and it's Miyamoto, and it's like, hey, we want to talk. How do you feel about the Inklings? And Miyamoto says, or Sakurai says, I wasn't really thinking about that. And Miyamoto's like, I think you should think about that. And gives him the orders, because sales are going well. We really appreciate your help with this. So, I don't know.
And again.
It's like, geez,
it's like,
man,
I
already
wanted to go on vacation. Yeah.
My hands hurt.
When's that vacation going to come, man?
Just keep working.
Yeah, they have him handcuffed to the terminal, like something out of Blade Runner or something really weird. It's like, God, this is horrible. Yeah, good stuff.
Actually, after you were talking about Splatoon, I just came up with a brief moveset for them, at least for their specials. So the final Smash could be one of the specials where either you get the bazooka or you have the ink strike. So your special is obviously shooting ink. Your special up would be the squid jump. Your special down would be like a bomb, or whether it's the burst bomb or the triangle bomb or whatever. And then the side one, because Splatoon is all about, swimming in your own ink, is maybe you slide, not a counter, but basically you slide in the platform you're on and avoid the other person. So it's kind of like a dodge.
Yeah,
in a way.
It writes itself, dude.
Yeah.
Like you're proving it. It writes itself. There's so much kind of dynamic movement in Splatoon. Like when you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, Final Smash easily the ink strike or something like that. You just hammer the whole stage with ink, and it would look graphically insane. It would be super cool. Everybody gets damaged, something like that. Some people get knocked out. It would work so well.
Yeah,
it's more a question of do they do it? Because we've said it all now. I mean, is it just the flavor of the month? Does Sakurai get the order because they say, look, sales are good. We need this to really drive it home and get the word out and cement this IP, or or does it get held off? Like Malik was saying, maybe more for Smash 5 or down the road, something like that. It's hard to say. I was just curious because I think about it a lot, given how much I play it.
Yeah,
it's easily I pretty much alternate the disc back and forth, between my Smash disc and my Splatoon disc, just back and forth, depending on my mood, So, yeah.
Cool. So I think we should end it there because this went on longer than I planned, but it's a good kind of unexpected thing. We're all having a fun talking. So hopefully people will listen. I'll split it in 2 parts, so maybe people will listen to it. But no, I had a great time. It was awesome having you on, Malik.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. This is my first ever real podcast, and it was really fun. I'm really glad that I got to talk with you guys about stuff that I really like to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. I love talking with obviously other people who love Nintendo, as you and the rest of us do. So it's always a good jumping off point when you get different views, especially Mike, who hates a lot of things but sometimes surprises you when he loves something. You're like, what the heck? You like that? But
we miss Mike.
I know. But I think we'll close it out there for today.
We miss everybody else too, for the record. I don't want anyone to feel left out. I always appreciate you guys having me on too.
Oh yeah,
so.
No, thank you for coming on as well. Okay, yeah. I don't know why I started there.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming in, okay. But we'll just finish off plugging where we're from. So I'm Matt. I'm known on the internet as the Mango Viking. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unoclay, why don't you go next?
I'm Unoclay. You can find me currently laying face down on my living room floor, trying to stay cool in a really sweltering hot night in Philadelphia. I also blog on IGN sometimes and make lots of snarky comments or whatever. And I play a lot of Smash and Splatoon, so if any of you out there listening, that's my main goal here. I just want to get really good at both games. So if you're from those communities, hit me up on IGN. I'm Unoclay1, and I'd love to have more friends to play with.
All right, and Malik, why don't you finish this off?
Oh, okay. I am Malik, and you can find me online, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, as TheCartoonGamer 8000 or TheCartoonGamer. My Twitter handle is Gaming Experience. That is experience with an X. And I've also got a DeviantArt and a Tumblr for my art stuff. And other things. But yeah, I'm shaping those up. But yeah, my video stuff is what's happening right now. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Is there any project upcoming that you want to tell people about, or that they should be aware of?
Well, I am making something. Let's see. I'm doing a couple of collaborations with a couple of other people. I'm still doing some Digino gaming stuff, but I won't say what. But you'll find out soon enough. And I'm also making a very rare video that should be coming out sometime this week, I hope. I mean, I've gotten all the voiceovers done. I just need to get all the footage. So, yeah, everybody stay tuned for some pretty interesting stuff.
Awesome. So, yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. It was great talking with you.
Same
Good
here.
night. Good night. Thanks for having us. Have a good night, man.
All right. See you.
See you guys.
All right, bye.